This is a project I got pretty recently. I think it's right up your alley. Check this thing out.
What is this?
It's like a 37 or 38 Dodge.
Wow, pre-war.
Yeah, I did a few things and lost the roof somewhere.
Hey, it happens.
I got my friend Alan out for a stroll through the wrench. He's a really talented guy, always up for anything, so that gives him a 5-star rating in my book. Plus, look at that hat. Extra points. This car is pretty much just turning into parts, you know? They left us under a tree, so it's pretty rotten underneath, but I think the rest of it's got a lot of potential. I had a plan for the roof, but now I want to utilize the entire vehicle.
Yeah, no, I see it, man. You have a lot of good metal on here.
It's got a lot of cool details on it. You might remember this Dodge from a project I did recently, that chop top VW build. The roof skin came in clutch on that project. I mean, it brought it to a whole different realm. So I'm thinking, man, the remainder of this car might have the same magic on this project I'm considering. It's not a pretty car, but it's got charisma. This might look like a roofless, clapped out sheet metal mess, but like they say, beauty is in the eye of the tool holder. Check out all the chrome. It's got the special bumper on it.
I love the special bumper. So this is the real deal Holyfield right here. My mind's just running at that time. I'm like, okay, where are we going with this? Are we gonna chop it? You know, I'm open for anything at this point. Sweet, so we're building a huge old lead sled?
No, we're not gonna build a car.
We're not building a car.
No, we're just
It
using
looks like
parts
a
of this.
car.
We're building something a little more like that.
Like, I'm not seeing it. The building?
It's sort of like a building, but it's more like a car. It's kind of an in-between.
I'm lost now, confused totally. This is the 5th project that I've got to work with Ian, and every one of them has been so different. None of them have been anything alike except for the confusion and chaos. What are we doing here?
There's a thing from back in the day, 40s-ish, it's called a house car.
Like a motorhome before motorhomes?
Yeah, exactly, 100%. I've got a couple other pieces to the pie.
Oh, okay, okay.
A couple slices more to the puzzle.
Sweet, the plot thickens.
You know, we got a pool out here finally, and it's not a big pool. It's like 15-foot diameter, but my wife, Jamie, she's saying she wants to have a pool cabana because the wind comes from every which way out here and stuff's blowing all over the property.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, well, I can't just build a shed, you know? It's got to be something cool, something that looks like, you know, what I do, something that matches the house, not some rickety old tin shack next to the building.
Yeah, something that fits your style.
And, you know, my style's cars, man, right? We call it the Brady Mansion because it looks like if the Bradys went on vacation.
Yes.
Not Tom Brady, but Marsha Brady. But that thing's massive.
Huge.
Like, there's no scenery if that's next to the house. It's just a big...
You can't see anything but that.
Right. But I'm thinking the smaller one is more appropriate. You know, it's like, our pool's 15 foot, right? So this thing is like 14 feet. It's a perfect block.
Okay.
There's nothing I love more than the look on my friends' faces when I'm throwing out all the nonsensical ideas that are spinning in my head. So I'm thinking it's gonna be like a Cabana car.
A Cabana car.
Cabana car, man, right? So it's like we take the front of the car and we put it on the front of the trailer. Yeah, because I'm not just building a trailer.
Right.
It's gotta look like something cool. It doesn't have to run or go anywhere, but it's on 4 wheels and it steers.
Right, right. Okay. This thing's getting interesting.
Check it out in here, man, it's nice. Over the winter, Jamie just threw all the pool stuff in here, and I'm like, wait, this needs to be at the pool. It's like, look, it's already doing its job. It's like a perfect little hut. I'm not sure if you've seen it before, but I had this friend who had this car called the Super Bugger. It was like a little RV Volkswagen.
Right.
So it was like actually on a bug chassis. They had something like the size of this camper, mated to it, and then the little Volkswagen nose stuck off of it. Well, I want to do that with this car, so it's like a Super Dodger or something like that. I don't know. After checking out that Super Bugger, I knew someday I was never going to have one. But I was going to build something as cool as that.
I just can't wait. What ideas you have and...
I don't have any ideas. You just heard them all. That's it.
Oh, is that it?
And that's the entirety.
How about a full custom cabana?
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, I'm loving it.
You know, if cars had consciences, there's no way this thing even understands where the heck it's going. On its way to be a pool cabana? What? Are you ready, Captain?
Aye.
See, that's why I cut the roof off, man. You can drive that thing like a pirate ship.
Yeehaw.
It wouldn't be Rancho Roussel if we didn't have multiple towing options. Also, I can't let Alan have all the fun. The old ATV tow truck trick.
There we go.
Knock them doors off, and I'll start torching. And watch out for black widows.
Ooh, careful now.
We're all born with special gifts, talents, and vices right out of the womb. I've been the master of disaster ever since I can remember. Today's no different. This is just another example of my brain coming up with a cockamamie idea and jumping head on right into it. I mean, is there any other way? Not on my side of the tracks.
There you go. When I initially get that call from Ian and he says, hey man, I got a car I want to work on, and I say, okay, cool, let's do it. And right away, nerves start kicking in, because am I gonna be good enough to do it? Am I gonna be able to handle it? You know, and I'm sweating, just sweating, trying to figure it out.
Let me get the broom. Look at all this. Car's like 50 pounds lighter, man. So see what I'm saying? Imagine that's the camper. Can you dig it?
I can dig it.
Looks better on the ground now. Look at that thing. This is where it all starts to come together. I see a little success, and I see a few issues. Yeah, so this engine's definitely a no-go, but the steering is intact, so that's what we need for
Right.
So let's just trim all this action out. See that? You got your steering, you got your body, and the rest, throw it back out in the pasture. So this is one small step for man, one giant step towards the creation of our ultimate Cabana car. On to the next.
All right, here we go.
With the Dodge broken down, it's time to bring in the other part of the equation and see where we're at. You know what, Alan?
What's that, bud?
No, there's one thing I hadn't thought about.
Oh.
Square peg in a round hole trick. You know, there's nothing like having to do a bunch of work when you're getting ready to do a bunch of work. Let's try to cut the tongue off of this thing and just lay that trailer flat on the ground. Looks like we only need to shave off a few inches to get this shack in the shop. There's your problem right there. Trailer's broke.
Ooh, barely. We're good. Nice. Just like they say in the lowrider world, it's almost low enough.
Almost low enough. This is the moment where all my mental theorizing comes home to roost. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that the three-dimensional mock-up does not lie. Ooh, that's darn close, huh? I'm impressed with how the fenders fit the width of the trailer. Like, it looks like it should be a camper. Look at that.
No, it is, because you've got the fenders that are bowed and then the top of the camper, which is round above, so it just all looks like it belongs.
Cabana car, baby. I'm definitely feeling it, man.
Yeah, I'm feeling it too.
You know, I want to keep it under this little muffin top detail, so it just might work, man. Pushing it in place, it does look like the fit up is good, but other views, it looks like two different worlds colliding. Because look at all this space here. We have no doors, you know? That's gonna look kind of weird. Like, this is the body, right? This is just the windshield, so no doors.
I try to stay as open-minded as possible, you know, but sometimes the ideas are a little bit stretched a little bit, you know, and we just have to figure out a way to lasso it in there and pull it in.
What if we stood the windshield up vertical? Cut this, cut the backside, and just went click.
Now we're talking my language.
And that'll make the windshield considerably taller, but then maybe we just give it a chop top. Right?
Man, it gets better and better every
Right?
day.
Come on.
Oh, mad science 101 right here.
I mean, my only orders were to build a pool cabana, right? She didn't say don't chop the top.
I never heard
I didn't hear
don't
that.
chop the top.
They don't call it full custom for nothing. Off with its head. I want to save this dash for sure. That's going back in, but we're going to modify this whole cowl area.
Okay. See what's the business.
Open the door. Close the door.
There it is.
Open the door.
Works good.
Perfect, man. Why don't you get that Sawzall with the long blade? Just follow this right through, right below the drip rail.
Hey,
So I'm thinking, like right there.
oh, nice.
Right?
Look at that. Looks like a school bus almost.
Yeah, like a school bus.
Class is in session.
This is the case with so many vehicles. You'll have like the consumer model, the public offering, but then you'd have specialty vehicles. And this looks like that 39 Dodge, but it's not a passenger car. It's like, wow, something's different in the top end of this. Oh, look at that. Oh, it just fell in.
It just fell in perfect. Wow, this action over here is looking good.
Right? So cool, man. It worked out very clean.
It is nice.
Our goal is to stay under 55. And here it's 53.
To the top of the glass.
Yeah. Get rid of the drip rails. That's all just holding this in place. We split this peak here and we just fold it down. Then we fold that one down. Smash it, weld it, trim it, slap it on.
So you lost me at cut it, trim it.
I just saw the whole build through to the end, man. Let's paint this thing.
I'm learning fast.
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? Sometimes when you see it, you just gotta go for it. Kind of like dangling that carrot in front of a racehorse. Yeah, just pull down on that. Let's see what develops. Yes. It's the way our forefathers did it, right?
That's the way they did it. Wow, look at that.
The old sandwich trick.
Kind of neat. Looks like a sedan. It's exactly what you just said.
Right?
You
Come
said
on.
turn this, turn that, twist and shout.
Now we're talking.
Wow.
Once we cut the hole, then this inserts, and then you're in here driving.
Okay, so that's your driver's seat right there.
There's a hole as big as the car in the front wall of this camper.
Oh, nice. I like it. So you only go in through one door and come out through one door.
That's it.
Man, this thing is neat.
That's what I was looking for, you know, so that the forehead, the pompadour is coming out over the windshield. I thought we might have to chop the top, but that window's as big as the camper window. Look at that.
Yeah, I think it's perfect.
A guy like me can just chop tops all day long, right? It's like a challenge to not chop it sometimes. Think around that type of standard procedure. I'm gonna measure side to side, draw it out, take those windows out, and then cut a hole.
Cut away.
Let me do a little housekeeping. It's getting a little busy in here. Oh, wow, boogie board. Look at that. Looks like this camper can't wait for its future life. It's already stockpiling all the things the Cabana needs.
Got it floated for me in there?
Ooh. Ready to Sawzall that puppy?
Oh, yeah. Oh, there it is. In the hole.
Oh, yes.
Dude, that is so rad.
Let's drop her down. They said I was a dreamer. Said I'd never amount to nothing.
Look at you now.
Look at me now. Look, you're looking at the kitchen sink. That's a win. It's a natural fit, man. I gotta say, I got this lucking out kind of streak in my favor. That thing fits and looks pretty darn good. Pardon me. You happen to have any Grey Poupon?
I love where this is going.
Fix me up a smoothie here. There's a rest stop coming up. I mean, I'm in the house. I'm also in a car. Also in a Cabana. What more could a guy ask for? Muppet Mobile's got nothing on this, man.
No.
You're moving right along. For our next act, we will front clip the trailer. Hey man, front clipped everything else. You might as well do a travel trailer, right?
Might as well.
Alan's up for pretty much anything. He's the smooth character. None of my half-brained ideas have scared him off yet. The way the sheet metal is on the ground looks so good, and the roof just works with the cutout. Because we want it as low as possible, of course.
Oh yeah, we definitely had to be scraping the ground.
The concept of front clipping the trailer means instead of 2 wheels, it's gonna have 4 wheels now. The fact that it steers properly is what sold the deal for me. Maybe take the Sawzall and just cut the tops off all those mounts. We'll just slice this bracket off right here, and then we'll just use the lower perches.
That sounds like a plan right there.
You got the steering end, I got the business end. And this is where it gets interesting. Both pieces have chassis under them. The trailer's a bit different than the car, but they're both strong enough to hold up their respective pieces. We just laid it out on the flat concrete floor, made our measurements so that the wheelbase is the same on each side. As long as they're mated in a way that's not gonna separate, it's a solid deal. It's full custom chassis jig right here. What more do you need than that?
Telling you.
Weld her up. Check it out. I was thinking about hot rods.
Love hot rods.
Look at that. How about that for the back? 8-inch wide.
Man, tell me they fit.
They fit that bolt pattern.
Man,
Come on.
his own wheel right here.
Come on. Let's jack it up. She's a wiggling. She's a jiggling. As much as I love these Ian alloy rims, I just don't think they're gonna be permanent. They're just placeholders for now. I don't think they really scream desert beach cabana. Just drop her down, see if she rolls.
Here we go. Whoa,
Perfect,
look
yeah.
at this thing. And she rose. Nice.
Still a little flexible, but I think we could lift it up now and finish the welding.
Yeah, should be pretty sturdy.
Right on. A mating like this is not supposed to happen. It's not an abomination, but it should never happen. Car chassis is about that fat. The trailer chassis is about that fat. So when they go together, we're gonna try to bring them all together and cross and reassemble and diagnose and do some more welding and, you know, just make them stick. That's secure. It's look nice. Sweet. To attach the car further to the camper, we got these steel plates, full custom brackets. I bet that added a lot of strength to the wall in general. Oh yeah, look.
Oh, wow.
Back in action.
This thing rolling, seeing where it came from to now, rolling on its own.
Super cool. I'm not crazy. You're the one that's crazy.
You're insane.
I gotta say, it's very satisfying. They both rolled in the door, now they both gonna roll out the door, as soon as we make the door bigger. Yeah, the next challenge is gonna be to get all this to look like it belongs. You know, I got a couple plans for this area here. Let's work on getting rid of this blue. I love the rust color, but this blue, The look I'm going for, as with house cars, it was a hand-built thing. You know, somebody had a car and they had a trailer and they're like, I got a really bad idea. Hold my beer. But yeah, you can see already, it's starting to look better without the stark blue action. I think the last bit of structure is just getting these holes in the wall filled in. It looks like a car was stuffed into a trailer, right? We gotta make it look like it's supposed to be that way. There's a few ways to do this, you know? It's like, well, you could take the camper wall and like try to do that, but then it looks like it's all caved in, you know? So I'm thinking if this just hit the drip rail, come around the window like that.
Okay, I see. And then you would have your sheet metal matching
Right.
that.
And then we trim this back later.
Nice. Yeah, so all we have to do is just match the curve, bring it down, weld it up, roll that out like a tortilla.
So check this out. Because it's like, well, how do we make this transition work, right?
Right.
So I think we weld it here, right? Complete. And then we leave a 1/4 inch or 3/8 inch lip hang out and then hammer it around.
And we have our own drip roll.
So it's like a hem, yeah. This was the piece we cut out where the car was. Now I just use that, put put it under our little lip.
Man, that's genius. Make it look like it belongs.
This is just my typical process, you know, winging it, just one step at a time, fumble your way through it, hope it works out. I mean, if I knew how everything was gonna end up, I'd be buying lottery tickets instead of doing this stuff. This wall was repaired once, and you see now the mashup of different values, but I think we can work on that.
Oh yeah, using this material here, man, makes it look like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, that looks cozy, man. It fit right in there. I'm digging it. I love the way that the window's sunken in, but it also kind of peeks back out of the camper. And the camper's a flat wall. See the element of the shadow going into the corners of the windshield?
Right.
I feel like if we could keep that shadow going across the entire top, it would help it.
Something like a sun visor.
Like a visor, yeah.
Like now it's got its natural sun
It's dark
visor.
and then it's light. If we could keep the whole thing kind of dark by coming from here and out.
Yeah, no, I like that it'll cover this. This thing's got a widow's peak like Dracula.
I don't think the car really needed a visor until I stepped back and looked at the join, the way that the V of the windshield was coming with the flat wall of the camper. The visor isn't as much a visor as it is sort of a shade canopy. It just helps that transition. It's the two pieces not matching up, all right? Fine, it's a shortcut through it. I admit it.
Full custom flex right here.
That's what I was hoping to see. That fleshed out perfectly, man. Let's put the dashboard in, get that whole windshield area wrapped up. This is the most satisfying part of the project yet, you know, when it's like, bam, it's in place, that's gonna work. Anything could happen from this point, as long as those two pieces are joined.
Entry stairs, ladies and gentlemen.
I gotta say, that's the weirdest pool cabana I've ever seen. Belongs in my backyard.
I don't think it'd be in anybody else's backyard. Only yours, Ian.
Now that these are joined up, it is seriously the tale of two cities, right? On one side, you got pre-World War II. And then in the back, you got this kind of 60s, definitely got a little more lightheartedness to it. How are they gonna come together? There's something about just the look, you know, just getting those blue stripes off helped it a lot. But there's still this hard contrast, you know?
Yeah, no, I get it. I just don't know how you're gonna be able to tie in something from the late 30s, something to the 60s. Where's the medium?
So I was thinking like house car, right? And so many
Right.
of those, like they had shingle roofs on them, you know, wood siding, etc. So I'm like, well, shoot, this is, you know, a hot rod version of that. So why not a woody? Why not like put wood siding down it?
Yeah, Woody totally screams rad.
It would be like, okay, now I see. It's more like a shack on the back instead of like, oh, we just took a 60s trailer.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. The Woody style was just so unique. You know, you either got it or you didn't get it.
But I think if we put like a band of wood from here down, that would really seal it, you know, with like some burring on the edges.
Man, I'm digging that.
And maybe picture frame the windows with the same material.
Oh, that would
Make it
look
look like a little
super
house,
nice.
right?
Exactly, and we can hide all the nasty behind that.
But check out this material I got. I think the tone will really bring this together.
Woo-wee!
Because I found that a while back for the doors, but the tone of that one was a little too bright.
Right, right. But for this, that material matches perfect.
Here at Honest Ian's Wood Siding Shop, we specialize in specializing. If you can envision it, we can enhance it. You're looking at this, you know, it's like, wow, 4 feet along this wall. That's pretty heavy, right?
Yeah, that's pretty big.
And I don't like the being vertical. I want it to be horizontal like you'd see on a Woody.
Oh, okay. Yes, definitely.
What do I know? Let's try it.
I got all my wood skills from Full Custom Garage.
That last wooden car we made was something. It's never a dull day in the shop, especially when we're going for something new. And that's pretty much every day.
Here it is, the man saw.
Yeah, it
This
is.
is a saw.
That thing's been with me for 30 years.
Man, this is like definitely before mumble rap.
My idea is to mock up one side of the camper, see how it looks. I really like the way that front wall cleaned up. Look at this.
Oh, wow. It's so cool. I love the way the wood just matches the rest, like perfect, perfect.
Surf shack vibe.
Very much so. Like I'm starting to get that feel of Noah's Ark almost.
We're gonna need one of everything. Some ideas just show their potential right away. And you know, when it seems like it's gonna work, I just let it happen. So you can see this row of screws. So I cut the groove so that they mount flush. Yeah, now it's looking like a shack on the back.
Looking pretty groovy.
It's the Dodger Lodger, baby.
From an outhouse to an in-house, just like that.
One thing I wasn't expecting was the quality of the dimension, you know, to have this flat sort of wood paneling and then the raised trim on it. It just looks more handmade. It really adds to it.
Just hope the wife loves it.
Oh, that's right. I'm building it for her.
That's right.
I'm getting carried away. How could she not like this? Come on. This car thing just doesn't work out. I think Alan and I could have a future in just manufacturing these Dodger Lodger Cabanas. Could be a big thing. While I still have Alan here, I want to get this whole rig painted. It's going to be sitting next to the house, so this stark white looks like an appliance. Let's just coat the whole thing with this paint. I got 2 gallons. Just use it up.
Sweet.
Alan was a great asset once again. You know, we had a great time. I think we got some quality results, and I mean, this project has really come a long way in a short time.
You know, looking at this project, when you see a 39 Dodge that's all beat up and you look at this motorhome, you wouldn't ever think you could do anything with it. Anything's possible. You just got to set your mind to it. I really don't have any idea what Ian's going to do to finish it, but I know it'll be a topper. You know, it'll be the cherry on top, however direction he decides to go.
I'm stoked, man. Good work. That's why I called you in for this.
Yeah, it's looking great.
This thing's really coming to life, but I still got a couple more tricks up my sleeve. Good magician never reveals all his secrets. Me and Alan did our work on this. I'm stoked. I love this mellow, like cream off-white tone. You got all this very simple kind of shack-style trim work, brings it all the way to the ground, makes the car look even lower now. It looked really top-heavy because it was like really pinched in on the bottom, but now like all the weight is on the bottom of it. Helps that patina color flow through to the back. That's one piece to the puzzle that's coming together. Eliminating those blue stripes and getting this thing into a mellower tone really helps out the transition between the car and the trailer. The way the front came together, I'm pleased with the way the windshield and the little visor. And the sheet metal, we just used satin clear coat and spray cans right over that old patina, and it just made it look so much richer. I love the way that this trim comes through and goes right into the chrome trim on the car. It's kind of the shack on the back look. It's definitely got house car vibes. That's what happens with every project, right? It's like, ooh, yeah, it's coming together. Now I want to do A, B, C, D, right? Go on down the line. One of my favorite things about this old car were these fenders, you know, the bubble fenders. As I'm looking towards the back of it, I'm like, man, what else from that car can I use to kind of bring that cool color patina back so it's not so much car here, trailer here. When in doubt, look through your pile o' stuff. Words to live by. Man, these fenders are good. They got that same trim, these little details I love so much on the front. Unfortunately, this is the only collision damage this car had, but I think I can work with that. I know a guy. He's got an awesome set of tools. TV repairman, fix anything. I got plans for these sections. Wait till you see that episode. That's gonna be a different story. But these fenders are going on that shack. What could possibly go wrong? If you're the kind of guy that would slice and dice the front of an old car and attach it to the camper, like why wouldn't you go back and do the same to the rear fenders? I mean, it's basic practicality, like buying some extra milk and butter when you're at the grocery store. I like this gas cap, even though it's not gonna have a gas tank. That is going in the shop. We'll delete that tail light. Come through. We have an imperfection in 2 areas. As per all the greatest car fabricators in the world, They will tell you, grab a big hammer and hit it. Who am I to disagree? And if you know me, you know I love a big hammer. Try to bop that back into shape. So you have a hard surface that's flat and then a soft impact, but I was trying to not mess with this patina by hitting it with a hard hammer. It would create a whole bunch of dimples, so there it is. I think that this thing right here, tacked on the side of the camper, it's gonna be a tough call. Do you cut open the side of it, Ian? Do you? Looks like the front of the fender's gotta come down for sure. See, now the lines in the fender are horizontal with the trim work. I think we're onto something here. Let me cut open that rim. I might have to put a tire on this thing just to see. Inquiring minds may be asking, Ian, how are you gonna remove that tire when there's siding all over it? If you must know, I wasn't planning anything. I'm excited to confront this situation and work my way through it, or out of it, as it were. The tires I bought for this may not fit in that camper fender well either. Let's take that rim off and investigate, shall we? Everybody's got their own ideas about what looks right, and for me, I just always try to put the fattest tire possible in the back. These are 225 50 16s. So they're definitely not old school with that low profile, but they're pretty much gonna be hidden, and I wanted this thing to be low as possible. My prized Ian alloys may not make the final cut for this project, but they do sure come in handy for the mock-up. Put some weight on it. Let's see what that story is. Any rubbing? I don't hear no rubbing. I consider this a double thumbs up. Not only do they not rub, but it keeps the vehicle really low to the ground, and that's a win-win for me. Yeah, I just don't want to see any of this camper wall. That works, all in all. Now the question is, how do we attach it? First, I'm gonna trim this business off. We're gonna get that out of the way. We're gonna get that out of the way. We're gonna get that out of the way. My goal here is to keep the mounting clean and discreet, not to change the look of the fender, just like it's attached. The idea here is to make the simplest mounting possible. I'm just gonna screw this to the trailer, but I'm gonna try to hide them in the trim. I love that. That little hidden fastener worked perfect. Just takes a little bit of that car and puts it into the trailer. Now I want to take a little bit of the trailer or the camper, put it into the car. I got one more idea. It's another day in the shop, and it's another opportunity for aspiring shop inspectors to strut their stuff. I guess just like all the inspectors before him, he's under the vehicle. He seems to be checking everything out. Not responsive at all, just strictly business. One thing I like is that we're working towards the non-communicative species of shop inspectors. No hemming and hawing, no whining, no demands, not even critiques. This bird's actually pretty polite. We saw it the other day flying around, and all of a sudden it made its home in the shop, and it won't leave. I hate to use the term bird brain, but I think we need a little more mental horsepower to juggle the oddities that are happening at this shop on the daily. It's got kind of a one-track mind. I'm gonna take him back to that tree. Back to the project at hand, the Cabana. I was thinking about what else we could do to this. You know, less vehicle and more party barge. Doesn't have an engine in it, so I'm thinking, man, what the heck's going on with this front end? What could we do here? It's like, what goes best with poolside activities? Beverages and burgers, right? Come on. What about a little service station under the hood instead of an engine? Let's get started, shall we? Let's take a look at that. Every project has its own flavor, and I think the more you're in tune with it, the better everything turns out. Lucky for me, I love swimming, beverages, and burgers. I think this project supports all three. You know, you got this lip right here. That's at the same height as this. You put a brace in here and just make this entire thing a tabletop. For my next act, I'll install a piece of wood. The old propane barbecue grill. Served up many a meal over the decade. I think we could clean this unit up and put it back in service. And I found a few coolers I had laying around also. I think it's like the tale of the three bears. This one just seems a little too small. And there's this one. That's a party just waiting to happen. But I think that one's just a little too big. Now this one, number 3, I think it's got all the potential. Anybody can just stick a cooler on the hood of their car, right? No, I want this thing custom. It's got to be lowered a little of this, little of that. I want that hood to look completely stock. I don't want it to look like anything's been changed until you open the pearly gates. It's time to modify. Let's cut a hole in this thing. You pull up, it's like, oh, wow, that's a neat old relic next to the pool. And you're like, but wait, there's more. Behind door number 1, door number 2, all around. Anybody in there? Not yet, but soon. This project in its entirety is a prime example of stuff that could have just as easily been sent off to the trash heap. The trailer wasn't really towable, it was kind of falling apart. Car had no future with the roof being hacked off. The barbecue grill, that thing was ready for the scrap pile. The guy doing it all, he's just about finished. So if you ever want to take the cooler out of there, you just got to take the whole car apart, see? It's science. Now we get to install that barbecue grill. Last but not least, one piece of good used vinyl flooring. This will be a nice little brightening under the hood, so to speak. Require a bit of finishing up, but that's the gig. Stick that hood on and see if it actually works. Like nothing's even in there. I think this is exactly what this project needed. You open it up, it looks finished, and it's got a usable aspect to it. What you got under the hood? 18 cold ones? Now, I was just thinking, I'm always collecting parts, and these hubcaps I've had forever. These are real deal J.C. Whitney catalog from who knows what year. From the start, these wheels were bugging me. I found these hubcaps, and I think that's the bridge. Look at that. Instant classic. It fits, because you got the wood tone, you got the deep, deep rust in the front, and that's kind of in the middle, old chrome. Now that this thing is really coming together, I want to bring in one more brain on the cause. My wife Jamie came in to give it the discerning eye.
It's looking amazing. I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah, check it out. Cooler.
Nice.
And then on this side, the barbecue. But that's the concept. Can you
I
dig
can clean
it?
that up, no problem. And I think it just really fits in with the 1930s vibe, early 40s vibe of the ranch. Like this would be something that maybe that they would have had here.
That was kind of the whole
Yeah.
thing. When you said you wanted a cabana, I was like, oh no, we're going farther.
Yeah.
Before it goes out, it's our last time in the shade, so if you're thinking it needs anything or...
Well, I was thinking, now that you put the color on it and I see it all together, maybe we could do the trim the same color as the windows in the house, that teal green that we did.
Yeah, I like that. We actually got a ton of that paint left over too, so...
Awesome.
Yeah. See, I was gonna go with something like this, but that kind of...
for the trim?
Well, it's sort of a trim. It's an embellishment.
What did you dream of this time?
I got an idea. But look at this. These two colors look good together, huh?
They do.
Yeah, I like that. You look at any camper anywhere coming down the freeway, and it'll have this label on the front, right? And it's always describing something, like adventurer or sun seeker, you know, that type of thing. Going for a sort of flow. I'm thinking more up in the center, down to the side, something that looks like a rainbow presentation on the approach.
Oh boy.
Story about Alan is his wife is actually a talented designer as well, and she cut out these stencils that are the perfect font that I'm looking for. It's the old sponge technique. trying to create a graphic that doesn't look like it was just applied yesterday, like, ooh, a hard sticker design, right? Using this sponge, it just applies a little bit of color. In the end, it'll appear that the color fell off when in fact it was just never applied. This thing is almost ready for poolside chilling and grilling. Getting this thing out of the shop is where it really shines. It looks so cramped in there. Now out in the open space, you really get it. I gotta say, it's way, way different than I ever expected. I thought it was gonna be kind of like an old tin shack. This thing looks like it'd be going down the road. Now with the bumper on, it looks so much lower in the front. Put on these mirrors. They came from my friend Bill's truck, one of his projects. Put some tail lights on it. I had these cool old red lights. They're almost like small spotlights, but they're red tinted. It looks as if it could drive somewhere. Looks like it was put away somewhere, cared for, but definitely not a new build. Love the green trim around the windows. Strong work. This graphic, I just got away with it. I was unsure as to how to do that, but the sponge technique, it worked out. It looks like an old faded sign. I thought, with all my builds, I want to go farther. And hey, maybe as a traveler, you may want to go farther as well. Like most of my projects, I used what I had, gathered a few other things, whipped it into a frenzy, and I came out on top. Whew. It could have been this tin shack over here, but now it really looks like something that might go down the road. And it's only gone about 200 yards. Who knows? It might go farther than it's been. It's almost Cabana time. Let's hitch it up. As they say, it's go time or tow time. It's almost tea time. Let's get in the backyard. It feels like it could have been here. When you see the old ranch trucks that are in the back that really were here, this thing could be right beside them and you wouldn't think any different. You'd be like, what kind of stinking hippies were in this place anyway? Pool party is what this is all led up to. As you may or may not know, it's all about the accessories. One can never have too many pool floats. Love it. Cabana, whatever. I'm talking about the pool. I tell you, that's refreshing. I think the biggest challenge in this was taking these two pieces that definitely don't belong together and make them cohesive. Aged down the trailer a little bit and brightened up the old car a little bit. I think it came together pretty convincingly. I'm very satisfied. The one regret, the pool cabana is not going to hold the jet ski I have planned for the pool, but we'll figure that out in due time. This is just the first chapter in a lifelong story. Another project nailed, a little weirdness spread throughout the neighborhood. I'm enjoying it already.